He actually thinks I'm objecting to something he put on his show about me. I have no idea what you put on your show about me. I couldn't care less, sir. I was mocking you for trying to lecture journalists on how to do journalism based on your own failure to speak truth to power. That's what you failed. You only did it when you knew your candidate was going to cost you up and...
Megyn Kelly just flipped the script on Hollywood, and suddenly George Clooney and Robert De Niro are in the center of attention without even knowing the scene had started. What went down? One of the most direct critiques aimed at two of Hollywood's most admired names delivered loud and clear. This wasn't a soft moment. Megyn came ready, not with questions, but with clarity. Clooney and De Niro, long viewed as untouchable icons, are now facing a bold public challenge, more intense than any award show glare. And no, this wasn't small talk. It was a sharp, thoughtful breakdown of public image, mixed messages in tailored suits, and the world of celebrity activism. Buckle up, this isn't just commentary. It's a blazing spotlight backed by
and George get together and they start navel-gazing on stage about themselves, of course, and their vaunted profession, and how bad, how just terrible the media is, and had the following exchange.
What we do in this is we talk about the responsibility of journalists to hold truth to power, right? That's our goal. And so if you're doing that, and we don't tell people what to think when we show that montage at the end, for instance. You see Megyn Kelly, she's who's come out and said, you know, I'm not a journalist. I didn't say I was a journalist.
Neither is she.
Picture this, Megyn Kelly, former Fox News anchor, media force, and unapologetic voice stepping right into Hollywood's spotlight-soaked world, and placing a bold challenge at the feet of George Clooney and Robert De Niro. This isn't just commentary, it's a cultural collision. Clooney and De Niro, long viewed as beyond critique, have benefited from reputations crafted with care. Clooney, the charming public figure. De Niro, the seasoned icon. But Megyn didn't show up with gossip. She brought direct questions aimed right at their image. Think David versus Goliath, but this time, David brought the footage, the facts, and a sharp message. And the most surprising part, nothing was...
Robert De Niro, who's got a severe case of the TDS, is in conference right now, as all of the muckety-mucks are. And he's very unhappy about what Trump is doing to try to keep filmmaking, American filmmaking, in America by slapping tariffs on foreign-made films so that he can basically try to force people to make them domestically again for the American audience that they're meant to serve. And here's what De Niro said on Tuesday.
America's Philistine president has had himself appointed head of one of our premier cultural institutions.
Let's talk about George Clooney, the classic leading man, known for mixing charm, smarts, and global awareness before most finish their coffee. He's often seen with world leaders, comforting children in tough places with cameras nearby, and giving speeches that echo official briefings. He's taken on Hollywood's moral voice so effortlessly that few stop to wonder where the role ends. He's the picture of the high-profile humanitarian and award-winning, coffee-sipping figure who shifts from charity events to film premieres with ease. But Megyn Kelly isn't clapping. She's pulling back the curtain and asking, are we really still sold on this?
Because I was Wendy Burcham doesn't make me actually Wendy Burcham and capable of speaking about what it's like to be married to Mr. Burcham or a shop teacher. But George Clooney is now starring on Broadway in Good Night and Good Luck. I guess at the end of this show, he turns around and looks at the audience and offers a lecture on how journalism is imploding, and this is why, I gather, he was profiled on 60 Minutes.
Megyn isn't buying the Clooney storyline for a second. To her, Clooney isn't a modern-day champion, he's the result of a well-crafted image wrapped in global themes. She points out the contradiction in his public persona, a man who talks about carbon footprints while logging more flight miles than most airline executives, hosting climate conversations, then flying private to awareness events. That's not dedication, that's optics. And the yachts, absolutely floating in scenic waters while Clooney discusses sustainability. It's more than just mixed image-making tailored for audiences who prefer their causes polished and powered, while Clooney addresses the world. Megyn implies he's doing it from a private jet with espresso in hand and a message straight from the...
You guys know Phil Wegman, he's a buddy of mine, wonderful White House correspondent for Real Clear Politics. He's a serious journalist, right? And he, quote, tweets the press release and he says, one of the speakers will be Robert De Niro. My hand to God, my first thought was, good for Phil, this is funny. This is a good, funny joke. It's nice to see Phil let his hair down. And then I was like, wait a minute, Phil wouldn't make this joke in this situation. And I still couldn't believe it was real. I am absolutely flummoxed. That is the dumbest move that I've ever seen a presidential campaign make in my entire life.
To Kelly, Clooney's global efforts come off like a high-end promo, visually stunning, but lacking real depth. She compares his activism to a polished TED Talk emotional music, perfect lighting, and just enough message to inspire without ruffling feathers. That's the Clooney formula. Smooth, scripted, and never too bold. He supports causes that lightly address real issues but steer clear of pushing the envelope. It's polished, comfortable, and aimed more at praise than real progress. And while he's posting about global concerns from a luxury villa overseas, Megyn is calling out the disconnect between his words and lifestyle. Want to talk about justice? She says, try doing it without luxury perks at a fundraiser that costs more than some make all year. Harsh, but
I see you went to Darfur. That's great. What about our guys? Because I never saw you at a Tunnel to Towers fundraiser, at a gathering for our Navy SEALs, and I've been to many of them. I never saw you at any of the public appearances that I've attended where our injured soldiers are just back from war, seeking a helping hand. I guess you never saw the interviews I've done of the Medal of Honors winners. They weren't very interesting to you, like Dakota Meyer. You didn't want to hear his story.
Now we shift to Robert De Niro, the icon, the legend, a presence so strong it commands the room. De Niro has long held the role of Hollywood's bold truth-teller, direct voice, unfiltered and firm. But Megyn isn't swayed by that legacy. To her, he's stuck in a loop of constant outrage, delivering the same charged lines like a speech on repeat. His public moments have become loud and intense, full of emotion, but short on lasting effect. Megyn compares his reactions to shouting into the wind, powerful in sound, but fading fast. Behind the serious exterior, she suggests, is someone who's swapped depth for headlines, turning conviction into more of a performance than a
Hypocrisy is alive and well amongst these sanctimonious leftists. From Kimmel to De Niro to Stephanopoulos, they want you to believe they're better than you, more virtuous, more decent. But we all know the truth. They lie. They sin. They do the very things they accuse you of and the things they say they would never do. Evil things, like try to destroy people based on feigned outrage from which they spare their own side, or playing politics with a...
She doesn't stop there. Megyn calls out De Niro for chasing spotlight over substance. Every trending topic, every viral headline, De Niro's right there, ready to speak out with his latest opinion. But what's happening offstage? Business, moves and film roles that don't always align with the ideals he promotes so loudly. His activism, she suggests, feels more like a strategy to stay relevant than a mission with depth. The once powerful voice of honesty now comes off as issue hopping, from topic to topic, like someone chasing the next headline instead of lasting change. And when he's not posting like a passionate advocate, he's connected to deals that raise eyebrows. De Niro's words, once impactful, now sound more like rehearsed performances. The audience hears them, but are they really
the garbage outside today? Robert De Niro, officially sent by the Biden campaign, makes himself look like an idiot and reminds us why Trump is so popular.
It's so stupid. It was colossally stupid. If you're going to send somebody to go speak outside of the Trump trial, make it someone who's universally beloved, like a Michelle Obama. You know, she's not universally loved. She's not loved on the right. But I'm saying, like, at least within the left and the center left, and maybe even some center righties. Robert De Niro has gone so hard partisan over the past 8 years. He is like example number 1 of Trump derangement syndrome.
That brings us to the heart of Megyn's message. The polished image Clooney and De Niro carry like a cinematic filter. At first glance, both seem like symbols of integrity. But look closer, and the cracks begin to show. Clooney's films, while dressed in social themes, sometimes lean more toward passion projects than bold commentary. And De Niro, once known for rebellious roles, he now sticks to scripted takes and cautious opinions. Both have mastered the look of involvement without stepping into spaces where real accountability happens. It's all presentation, Megyn argues. A performance style to look like...
I'm moving to Canada if he wins, and he's never going to leave the White House if he wins. We're going to have Trump forevermore. I mean, hello, I hate to break it to you because I realize you're advanced age too, Robert, but people die. So he will leave. One way or the other, he's going to go. And in the not too distant future, even if Trump says he shouldn't have to. But in any event, he didn't do that the last time, Paul. Can you really picture a scenario in which Trump is more determined to hold on to power than he was at the last time in 2020, going into 2021? And what did he do ultimately? He left. He did leave. He did it under protest. He was a baby about it. He pouted and then some. But he left.
De Niro's tough guy image doesn't hold up in Megyn's eyes. Behind the serious look is a noticeable quiet when it comes to issues that hit too close to his professional circle. He plays fearless roles on screen but avoids real-life moments that require the same boldness. His characters challenge power, but his actions suggest restraint. And Clooney, with his polished advocacy, seems to skip over the deeper issues within Hollywood itself. That's not a miss, it's a choice. Both have mastered the art of circling big topics while avoiding the harder truths real leadership demands. Megyn paints a picture of two Hollywood icons more comfortable speaking to the world than turning that same lens.
Tell me about my recent dust-up with George Clooney, who rather than focusing on his waning acting career is commenting on yours truly and my journalism. And I had a little response to him on the show the other day, and here's that exchange when that came up.
Don't on your show also shy away from controversy. I saw that you addressed George Clooney's comments. Why did you feel the need to respond?
Oh, because it's too delicious not to. Honestly, George Clooney trying to advise me on how to practice journalism. Take care, honey. Okay, you know what? He should call me up. I would love to talk to him about it. He's obviously got thoughts on me. So let's do that. That'll be fun. So, Mark, it was basically a night of antagonism.
This is where Megyn Kelly steps beyond gossip and into serious critique. She's not here to entertain with shade. She's revealing a system, a machine, a Hollywood culture that favors image over substance, hashtags over real action. Clooney and De Niro symbolize a larger issue, a celebrity world focused on surface and avoiding self-examination. She's the outsider who doesn't need to protect the image, who walks into the room and says what others won't. While most media tread carefully around these untouchables, Megyn throws the doors wide open. And it's not just for clicks, it's for honesty. She asks the questions no publicist wants answered, and she's not waiting for
past 20 years interviewing people like Suzette Kelo, who owned the Little Pink House that got seized by her local government, declaring government domain, a decision that went all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court, like the cake baker in Colorado, who didn't want to bake a gay wedding cake because it violated his religious beliefs. Oh, and by the way, also the gay couple he offended. People like triple and quadruple amputees back from Iraq and Afghanistan. What did you do to help the
Clooney and De Niro, despite their awards and praise, now face intense scrutiny. Their carefully crafted reputations suddenly seem fragile under Megyn's sharp spotlight. And their silence. It speaks volumes. No clever comebacks. No official responses. No polished statements. Just the sound of flawless images starting to crack. That quiet reveals more than words. It shows worry, not confidence. Fear that the truth might come out. Because Megyn Kelly didn't just question them, she exposed them. And under that exposure, the picture isn't as perfect as social media shows. What happens next? Maybe nothing. Maybe Clooney and De Niro retreat, rethink their image, and wait for the heat to die down. But the impact is real. The illusion is broken. Thanks to Megyn Kelly, the cracks are visible. The era of untouchable celebrity activism is shaking, and that brings us to the heart of Megyn's message. The polished image Clooney and De Niro carry like a cinematic filter. At first glance, both seem like symbols of integrity. But look closer, and the cracks begin to show. Clooney's films, while dressed in social themes, sometimes lean more toward passion projects than bold commentary. And De Niro, once known for rebellious roles, he now sticks to scripted takes and cautious opinions. Both have mastered the look of involvement without stepping into spaces where real accountability happens. It's all presentation, Megyn argues. A performance